the town that never lets you leave. Ever been to a town that just feels wrong? A place where the smiles are a little too wide, where the streets are dead quiet at night, and you get the sense that something's lurking just out of sight? What if I told you there's a town where the people don't leave, not because they don't want to, but because they can't? This is the story of a family that thought moving to a quiet town for a fresh start would be their escape. But they soon found out that the town wasn't just quiet, it was hiding a deadly secret. And by the time they realized the truth, it was already too late. Family moved to Blackwood. James Carter, his wife Sarah, and their 10-year-old son Lucas had left their fast-paced life in the city for a quieter existence in Blackwood, a small town nestled in the countryside. The promise of peace and a slower pace had them excited for a new chapter. The town looked like something out of a postcard. Charming houses, tree-lined streets, and fields that seemed to stretch forever. The neighbors were friendly, the air was fresh, and everything was beautiful. But from the moment they arrived, Sarah felt something was off. The townspeople were too friendly. The smiles were too wide. Their greetings lasted just a little too long. And then there was the strangest thing of all. When the sun set, the entire town seemed to shut down. Shops locked their doors, the streets went completely empty, and every house was dark. James noticed it too. It wasn't normal. He decided to ask their neighbor, Mr. Dawson, who lived across the street. James, "Hey, Mr. Dawson, how come everything shuts down so early around here?" Mr. Dawson paused, glancing around before answering in a quiet, almost cautious tone. "It's safer that way." Sarah laughed, a little uncomfortable. "Safer? From what?" Mr. Dawson's face went pale. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "You'll see." The first night that evening, after unpacking, Lucas spoke up from his bedroom. "Mom, why are the streetlights off?" Sarah turned toward the window, her eyes scanning the streets. It was true. Every streetlight was out. The town was covered in a pitch-black blanket of darkness. No lights anywhere. The silence was overwhelming. No sounds from animals, no faint noise from passing cars, just nothing. Then they heard it. A scraping sound, slow, deliberate. It echoed through the quiet night like something dragging itself along the ground. James stood up, glancing around. Probably just a raccoon or something. But then the sound stopped, and everything went quiet. For a moment, there was nothing. Then suddenly, the sound started again. But this time, it was closer. It was unmistakable. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Sarah's stomach twisted with unease. She pulled Lucas closer to her side. "James, do you hear that?" James hesitated, a cold chill running down his spine. "I hear it, but I'm sure it's nothing. Let's just lock up and get some sleep." But as they tried to settle in, the scraping sound grew louder, closer. The town's dark secret. The following day, James went into town for supplies. As he passed the local cafe, he noticed something strange. A figure behind the glass window, completely still, staring at him with wide eyes. He tried to shake off the feeling, but couldn't. The town's energy had shifted, and something felt deeply wrong. He quickly headed home, his mind racing. When he walked through the door, Sarah was waiting for him. "James, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like we're being watched. This place is getting under my skin." James nodded grimly. "I know what you mean. I've been feeling it too. It's like we're not supposed to be here. Like something's waiting for us to make a move." Just then, a loud knock echoed through the front door. Startled, James stood up to check. He opened the door, but there was no one there. The moment he closed it, the lights flickered, and then went completely out. The air grew cold. The truth behind Blackwood. The darkness in the house was suffocating. The stillness was too much to bear. "Sarah, something's wrong. We need to leave now." Just as she spoke, he heard the scraping sound again. This time, it was inside the house. Scratch, scratch, scratch. James grabbed a flashlight and cautiously moved down the hallway, the beam trembling in his hand. The scraping was coming from the walls. As he reached the source of the sound, his heart stopped. The walls. The walls were moving, shifting, pulsing. Something was alive inside them, something watching them. And then from the darkness, they heard a voice, low and cold. "You should have left when you had the chance." James turned to Sarah, his face pale with realization. "We're trapped here. This place, it's not just haunted, it's a prison, and we're never leaving." or something watching them. You also like this story, so like my channel and subscribe and click the bell icon button.